Hi everyone, welcome to Bloom with Bio. So in this lecture, we will be learning about the external features of a flowering plant, that is the morphology of flowering plant. In this chapter, we will be learning about the root, shoot, leaves, flowers, fruits, seeds, everything, all the morphological structures or all the external features of the plants. So what is morphology of flowering plants or morphology? It is the external characters of an organism or a plant. Morphology is external characters of an organism. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the angiosperms, that are the flowering plants. So what are the characteristic features of a flowering plant? It is characterized by the presence of root, shoot, leaves, flowers and fruits. And these angiosperms have seed which is enclosed inside a fruit. And we have learned before, angiosperms can be divided into two, that is monocots and dicots. The plants which is having a single cotyledon is called as monocots, and the plants which are having, or the seeds which are having two cotyledons are called as the dicotyledons. Now we can see parts of a plant. So in this diagram you can see that it has a shoot system which is found above the soil, and you can see a root system which is found below the soil. So above the soil, what all are present? They have a stem is present, fruits are present, leaves are present, nodes are present, internodes are present, axillary buds are present, inflorescence are present which contains flowers, terminal buds are there, then nodes are there. So these are the parts which are present in the shoot system. Coming to the root system is found below the soil, and what you can see there, root system will be having a primary roots as well as lateral roots will be there in an angiosperm. Now we will see the functions of shoot system as well as root system. So first, functions of shoot system. It helps in photosynthesis. It helps in reproduction, that is through flowers. Then it helps in storage. It helps in transport, and also it helps in production of certain plant growth regulators, that are the hormones. What are the functions of root system? So it helps in anchorage. This helps in attachment of plants onto the soil. Then it helps in absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Then it helps in storage, that is the modification. It helps in transport. It also helps in the production of plant growth hormones. Now coming to the root system. Roots are formed from a radicle. So from the embryo, from the radicles, roots are produced. Root system is of three types. Based on the structure or based on from where they are originating, roots are of three types. One is taproot system, the other one is fibrous root system, and the third one is adventitious root system. Now we'll see detail about all these three systems. Coming to the taproot system, which is also called as the primary root system. It's mainly found in dicotyledonous plant. So what you can find here is these roots arises directly from the radicle, which leads to the formation of primary roots. And from this primary roots, lateral roots will be arising, and that will be having different degrees like secondary, tertiary or quaternary. Like that, roots will be produced, and the primary roots along with its branches will constitute the taproot system. Example found in mustard. Coming to the next type of root system, that is the fibrous root system. This type of root system is mainly found in monocotyledonous plants or the monocots. So what happens here is the primary root is short-lived, and this primary root is replaced by a large number of roots, and this constitutes the fibrous root system. So from the leaf, from the stem base, what will happen? A lot of roots will be arising, and this forms the fibrous root system. And example for this is in the wheat plant, that are monocots. So next type of roots are adventitious roots. These roots arises from the parts of plant other than the radicle. So it will not be formed from the radicle. So examples are grass, monstera or banyan tree. So now we are going to learn different regions of roots. So root is having four regions. One is the root cap. Above that is the region of meristematic activity. Then above that is the region of elongation. And the last one is region of maturation. So first one, root cap. Root cap is found on the apex of root. So it is at the tip of the root, and it is covered by a timble-like structure, or it is covered by a timble-like structure, and this is very delicate and soft. And this protects the tender apex of the root, and it makes the way through the soil. Now coming to the region of meristematic activity. The meristematic activity region is found just a few millimeters above the root cap. And this is the region where the cells are actively dividing. So these cells will be like very small, thin, and it is having a large amount of protoplasm. And these regions will be dividing rapidly. Now just above the region of meristematic activity, we have the region of elongation. Cells in this region will undergo rapid elongation and enlargement, and this is responsible for the growth of the root in length. Next we have the region of maturation. So this is the region where gradual differentiation and maturation of cells will be taking place in the root. From this region of maturation, very thin delicate hair-like structures called root hairs will be arising. And what is root hair will be helping? This root hair will help in the absorption of water and minerals, and also it increases the surface area for this absorption. Next we are going to learn about the stem. Stem is the aerial part of the plant. So it is found above the soil, and the stem bears different plant organs like branches, leaf, flowers and fruit. So this is developed from the plumule of the developing embryo or the seed. So this comes from the plumule. And the stem bears nodes and internodes. So the nodes are the region from where the leaves are arising and our other organs will be arising, and internodes are the region between two nodes. And the stem will be having buds which will be both terminal or axial. Now we will see major functions of stem, that is spreading out branches that is bearing leaf, fruits and flowers. It also helps in conduction of water, minerals, and it also helps in photosynthesis. Why it helps in photosynthesis? Because all the green parts of the plant is found above the soil in the or on the stem. Now this stem performs functions like storage of food. It also helps in support, protection and vegetative propagation. Leaf is a lateral flattened structure which are borne on the stem. So it develops from the node and it bears a bud in its axial, and it's called as the axillary bud, and this later develops into a branch. So the leaves originate from the shoot-typical meristem and are arranged in an acropetal order. These leaves are the most important vegetative organ for photosynthesis, because these leaves are having more number of stomata and also more amount of chlorophyll is present, and these leaves are also known as the kitchen of the cell. Now moving on to the different parts of leaves. Leaves typically consist of three main parts. One is leaf base, then you have the petiole and the lamina. So what is leaf base? The leaf is attached to the stem by the leaf base, and this leaf base has small leaf-like structures called as stipules. In monocots, the leaf base is expanded into a sheath covering the stem partially or wholly. Okay, and in some leguminous plants, this leaf base may become swollen, and that swollen part of this leaf base is called as the pulvinus of leaf base. And this is how the pulvinus will look like. Coming to the petiole. Petiole holds the blade towards the light. Then only the plants can get enough sunlight for photosynthesis. And these petioles are flexible, and this allows the blade to flutter in the wind and thereby cooling down the leaves. Next is the lamina or the leaf blade. So this leaf blade has a green extended part of leaf which contains veins and veinlets. And this middle prominent vein is known as the midrib. So you can see here, there is a middle prominent vein here called as the midrib, and veins will be there, and also veinlets will also be there. So all these are present in the lamina, which is a blade or the leaf blade, also called as the leaf blade. So these are the different parts of the plant, that is, one is the petiole, lamina and the leaf base. Next is venation. Venation is the arrangement of vein and veinlets in the lamina. So there are two types of venation. One is reticulate venation and the other one is parallel venation. So the first one is reticulate venation. So this is having a network like venation. So here one main midrib will be there, and from there veins and veinlets will be arising. So it looks like a network. Example, mainly it is found in the dicotyledonous plants. Coming to the next type of venation, that is parallel venation, where the veins run parallel to each other. So here you can see all the veins are running parallel to each other, and a midrib is there present like this. And this example for parallel venation is monocots. So like grasses or other monocots like this banana tree, everything have a parallel venation. Now we will see types of leaves. There are two types of leaves. One is simple leaf and the other one is compound leaf. So the lamina of the leaf, when it is an entire lamina or when it is incised, the incision do not touch the midrib. This type of leaves are called as the simple leaf. So you can see here the lamina is whole here, and the second diagram, the lamina is incised but the incision is not touching the midrib. This is called as simple leaves. And when the incision of the lamina reach up to the midrib, making the lamina into number of leaflets, this type of leaf is called as the compound leaves. Buds are present in the axil of petiole in both simple and compound leaves. But these buds are not present in the axil of leaflets and compound leaves. There are two types of compound leaves. One is pinnately compound and the other one is palmately compound. So what is pinnately compound? The number of leaflets present on a common axis, that is called as the pinnately compound. Example is like in neem. And when these leaflets are arranged in a common point like a wall, it is called as palmately compound. So the first diagram shows here is the pinnately compound, that is A is pinnately compound and here the B is palmately compound. Now we will see what is phyllotaxy. It is the arrangement of leaves on stems or branches. So this type phyllotaxy is of three types. One is alternate, then you have the opposite, then whorl. What is alternate type of phyllotaxy? From one leaf is arising from a single node, and that too in an alternate pattern. This is called as alternate type of phyllotaxy. So you can see here, from this node a leaf arises towards the right side. So from this the leaf arises towards the left side. So in the alternate manner the leaf will be arising one from a single node. Example, China rose, mustard, sunflower, etc. The next type of phyllotaxy is opposite phyllotaxy. So here a pair of leaf will be arising from a single node. That is, two leaves will be arising from a single node and that too in the opposite direction. So one in the right and one in the left. And example is Calotropis and Guava. Next is whorl type of phyllotaxy. So here from a single node more than two leaves will be arising and they will be arranging in a whorled pattern. Like example in Alstonia. So here one node will be there and you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves are arising from a single node. Next is inflorescence. So flower is a modified shoot. So what happens here is the shoot apical meristem will get converted into the floral meristem and the internodes do not elongate here and the axis will get condensed. So the apex produces different kinds of floral appendages laterally at successive nodes instead of leaves. And when a shoot apical meristem transforms into a flower, it will be always solitary, that only one flower will be produced. Now what is inflorescence? It is the arrangement of flower on the floral axis depending upon whether the apex gets converted into flower or it continues to grow. There are two major types of inflorescence present. One is racemose inflorescence and the other one is cymose inflorescence. What is racemose inflorescence? The main axis continues to grow and the flowers will be produced laterally in an acropetal succession. So what is acropetal? Acropetal meaning the old leaves or old flowers will be there in the base and new flowers will be produced above or to the apex region. Next one is cymose inflorescence. So cymose inflorescence, the main axis will be terminating into a flower and hence what will happen? The growth is limited. So this type of inflorescence will have a basipetal order. That is, the older one will be there in the top and newer one will be producing towards the basal part of that. So that is basipetal succession. Next is the flower. Flower is the reproductive unit of angiosperms and a typical flower has 4 different kind of whorls which are arranged successively on the swollen part of stalk or the pedicel and that is called as the thalamus or receptacles. So this is the structure of flower. So this is the stalk or the pedicel and it has a swollen part called the thalamus or receptacle on which all the whorls of the flower is arranged. So what are the 4 different kinds of whorls? These whorls are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx and corolla are the accessory organs whereas androecium and gynoecium are the reproductive organs. Now what is perianth? In some flowers like lily, what happens? The corolla and calyx are not separate or they are not distinct. They are fused and this is termed as perianth. Next we are going to see different parts of the flower and first we are going to see calyx. This is the outermost whorl of the flower. This is also called as sepals and this calyx will protect the flower in its bud stage. So this calyx are of 2 types. One is gamocephalous and the other one is polycephalous. What is gamocephalous? From when this calyx are fused or sepals are fused into one, it is called as gamocephalous and when the sepals are free, that is called as polycephalous. Next is corolla. They are also called as petals. These are the brightly colored parts of the flower and this is used for attracting the pollinating agents for attaining pollination. So this corolla may be free or fused. The shape and size of corolla will vary greatly in different plants. So the corolla can be tubular, bell-shaped, funnel-shaped or wheel-shaped. Now we are going to see the male reproductive part of the flowers, that is the androecium. It's also called as the stamens. So stamen is having two parts. One is the stalk, that is a filament, and the anther. Anthers are having bilobed structure, and these are the places where pollen grains are produced and stored. The pollen grains are produced inside the pollen sac, which is present in the anther. And here you can see in the anther you can have the pollen sacs here, inside which the pollen grains are produced. So the sterile stamen is called as the stamenoid. And the stamens which are attached to the petals are called as epipetalous, example like in brinjal. And when the stamens are attached to the perianth, it is called as epiphyllous, like in lily. If the stamen of the flower remains free, it is called as polyandrous. If they are united into one bundle, it is called as monoadelphous, like in China rose or the hibiscus. If the stamens are united into two bundles, it is called as diadelphous, that is example in pea plants. And if the stamens are united into more than two bundles, there may be variations in length of the filament within the same flower, that is in salvia and mustard. So now you can see the structures of polyandrous, monoadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous. So in monoadelphous what happens? All the stamens are separate. Now coming to monoadelphous, all are having or all are fused together. Now in diadelphous, two bundles are there, one and the one will be separate. And in polyadelphous, many bundles of stamens will be there present. This carpel consists of three parts, that is stigma, style and ovary. And the ovary contains ovule within it. And this ovule is the place where you can find the female germ cells. Stigma is the place where pollen tubes will come and germinate, and the pollen tubes will pass through the style towards the ovary, and it will enter into the ovule through a small region called the micropylar region. Each ovary bears one or more ovules which are attached to a flattened cushion-like placenta. There are different types of gynoeciums. One is monocapillary and the other one is multicapillary. So what is monocapillary? If only one carpel is present, it is called as monocapillary, and when more than one carpel is present, it is called as multicapillary. So multicapillary is also two types. One is apocarpus and the other one is syncarpus. So apocarpus, when the carpels are free, like in lotus and roses, and syncarpus when the carpels are fused, like in mustard and tomato. After fertilization, what will happen? The ovules will develop into seed and the ovaries will mature into. Now you can see apocarpus and syncarpus here. So you can see here all the gynoeciums are different, that is apocarpus. Now you can see here all the three are fused, that is the syncarpus. What is estivation? It is the arrangement of sepal and petals on the flower bud, and this is with respect to the different members of the same wall. Based on this arrangement, estivation is of four types, that is valvate, twisted, imbricate and vexillary. So what is valvate estivation? This type of estivation where the sepals and petals are arranged just like one touching the other in the margins, like this. So this type of estivation is called as valvate estivation, example in Calotropis. Next is twisted. So if one margin of the appendage overlaps the next one and so on, like this, it is called as twisted estivation, found in China rose, ladyfinger and cotton. Imbricate estivation. So here what happens? Margins of sepals and petals will be overlapping, but it will not be overlapping in a particular order, like example in Cassia and Gulmohar. Next is vexillary estivation, or also called as papillonaceous estivation. So here one large petal is there, and there are two lateral petals which are overlapped by this large petal, and there are two smallest anterior petals which are connected like a key. So example is pea and beans. So these are the different types of estivation. This is valvate estivation, this is twisted estivation, this is imbricate estivation, and this is vexillary estivation. Now let us see what is placentation. It is the arrangement of ovule within the ovaries. Okay, based on the arrangement, placentation is of five types, that is marginal, axial, parietal, free central and basal. So first we will see what is marginal placentation. So in this, the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral stature, and the ovaries and ovules are borne on the ridge, forming two rows. Example like in peas. Axial placentation. So when placenta is axial, the ovules are attached in a multilocular ovary. So like in China rose, tomato and lemon. Next is parietal placentation. So the ovules develop on the inner walls of ovary in the parietal region. That is, parietal axis is the outermost axis or outermost part. So the ovaries are one chambered, but it is divided into two chambers by the formation of a false septum called as retla, like in mustard and argemone. The next one is basal placentation. So the placenta develops at the base of the ovary and a single ovule is attached, like in sunflower and marigold. Last one is free central. So the ovules are born on the central axis and there is no septum present, and example is dianthus. So here are the marginal, axial, parietal, free central and basal placentation. So you can see at the ridge the ovaries and ovules are produced. Now you can see axial placentation. So different locules are present, that is multilocular arrangement is present. Next is parietal. The ovules are arranged in the parietal part of ovary, like this, in the outermost part. Now coming to the free central, the ovules are arranged in the central part which is having no septum. And the last one is basal part. The ovaries are, or the ovules are present at the base of ovary. Now we are going to see different types of flowers. So based on different characters, flowers are of different type. So the first one is based on the reproductive organ. Flowers are of two types. One is unisexual flower and the other one is bisexual flower. So unisexual flowers are type of flowers which are only having one reproductive organ. Either stamen will be present or pistil will be present. So that is called as unisexual flower. So female flower will be there, male flower will be there. So you can see here, this is the male flower and this is the female flower, and these are unisexual flowers. Now coming to bisexual flower. Both the sex organs, that is the male and female sex organs, are present in the single flower. That is bisexual. So you can see here, this is bisexual flowers. That is, you can see the pistil as well as the stamens present in the same flower. Now, based on the symmetry, flowers are of three types. One is actinomorphic, zygomorphic and asymmetrical. What is actinomorphic? Actinomorphic is nothing but the radial symmetry. So if a flower which can be divided into two equal halves through any radial plane, it is called as actinomorphic. Then what is zygomorphic? It is the bilateral symmetry. So when a flower can be divided into two similar halves only through a single plane, that is called as the zygomorphic. Example, like you can have gulmohar, beans and cassia, and also peas are present. Now the asymmetrical, that is, they do not have a shape, they are irregularly shaped flowers. Like example, canna, and these flowers cannot be divided into any equal parts through any plane. Now based on the number of floral appendages present, flowers are of three types. One is trimerous, tetramerous and pentamerous. Like it will be in multiples of 3, it is trimerous. If the appendages are in multiple of 4, it is tetramerous. And if the floral appendages are in the multiples of 5, it is called as the pentamerous. What is bract? It is the reduced leaf found on the base of pedicel. So flowers with the bracts are called as bracteate. So what is ebracteate? When the flowers are not having bract, it is called as ebracteate. And these are the two types of flowers which are based on the presence or absence of bracts. Based on the position of calyx, corolla and androecium with respect to ovary and thalamus, flowers are of three different types. One is hypogynous, then perigynous and epigynous. First we will see what is hypogynous. So you can see here the gynoecium is occupying the highest position and all other parts of the flower are below it, like in mustard, China rose and brinjal. Next is perigynous. You can see here the gynoecium occupies the center position and the other parts are located in the rim of the thalamus, and that too in an equal or the same level. So example, you can have plum, rose and peach. Next is epigynous. So here you can see the gynoecium is found within the thalamus or fused within the thalamus, and all other floral parts are found above it. Example, in guava, cucumber and ray florets of sunflower. The hypogynous type of flowers are having superior ovary. The perigynous are having half inferior type of ovary, and epigynous are having the inferior ovary. So now next we are going to learn about fruits. So these fruits are the characteristic features of angiosperms of flowering plants. So they are matured or ripened ovary which is developed after fertilization. If Without fertilization, a fruit is formed. It is called as the parthenocarpic fruit. So generally, the fruit consists of a valve, a pericarp and a seed. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. When the pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into the outer epicarp, middle mesocarp and inner endocarp. So you can see here the epicarp, outer one, the middle mesocarp and the inner seed is present, and the outer to the seed just you have the endocarp. Now what is drupe? Drupe are produced from monocapillary superior ovary and they have only one seed. Example in mango and coconut. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into the outer epicarp, the middle fleshy and edible mesocarp and a hard stony endocarp. In coconut, the mesocarp is fibrous. What are seeds? The ovules after fertilization will develop into seeds. So the seeds are made up of seed coat and an embryo. The embryo consists of plumule, radicle, one or two cotyledons. So one cotyledonous plants are called monocotyledons and two cotyledonous plants are called as two dicotyledons. Like monocots example wheat and maize, dicots example gram and pea. So what is seed coat? It is the outermost covering of the seed. The seed coat has two layers, the outer taxa and the inner technum. So we are going to see different parts of the seed. First is the hilum. So hilum is a scar on the seed coat through which the developing seeds are attached to the fruits. So you can see here, this is the hilum region in the seed. Now what is micropyle? So micropiles are small pores present above the hilum. Now the embryo, it consists of embryonical axis and two cotyledons. Embryonical axis are like the plumule and the radicle. Cotyledons, they are often fleshy or full reserve food material, and this reserve food material is for the seed germination. Now we will see what is endosperm. These endosperms are formed as a result of double fertilization, and these are the storage tissue or the food storing tissue. So in plants like beans, gram and pea, the endosperm is not present in the mature seed. Such seeds are called as the non-endospermous seeds. Now moving on to the structure of a monocotyledon seed. So the seeds of cereals such as maize have a membranous seed coat and are generally fused with the fruit wall, and this type is called as the hull. Endosperm in monocotyledon seeds are bulky and it stores food. Most of the monocots are endospermic, but few like the orchids are non-endospermous. The outermost layer of endosperm is a proteinaceous layer that separates the embryo, and it is called as aileron layer. The embryo is small and it is situated in a groove at one end of the endosperm. Monocots have one large shield-shaped cotyledon known as scutellum. What is coleoptile and coleorhiza? These coleoptile and coleorhiza are sheath-like structures that covers the plumule and radicle. So the coleoptile will cover the or enclose the plumule and coleorhiza will enclose the radicle. The inflorescence are solitary, axial or cymose. Now the flowers are bisexual and actinomorphic. About the calyx, it is pentasepalous, that is 5 petals are there, it is united, it is persistent and its valvate estivation. Now the corolla, that is petals are also 5 in present, it is also united and valvate estivation. Coming to androecium, 5 stamens are present, that is epipetalous. And the gynoecium is bicapillary obligately paced, syncarpous, ovary is superior, bilocular and the placenta is swollen with many axils. Now the fruit is berry or capsule and the seed is many seeds are present and endosperm is also present. Economic importance of this family, it is used as food, spices, medicines and ornamental plants. Now moving on to the floral diagram of family Solanaceae. So this represents that the flower is actinomorphic. That is, it is radial symmetry is present. Now you can see both male and female is present. So that is they are bisexual. Now K represents the calyx. That is 5 calyx are present and this bracket show that it is fused. So it is gamosepalous. Now coming to C, that is corolla. They are also 5 in number and that too the brackets are present, that is fused, and they are also gamopetalous. So the A is androecium and 5 androeciums or 5 free stamens are present. So no brackets, so they are free. That is polyandrous. And you can see here G is the gynoecium. 2 carpels are present and they are fused. That is syncarpous. And the androecium is attached to the petals and that is why it is epipetalous. Examples are brinjal, chili, ashwagandha and petunia. So you can see here 5 sepals are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are fused. So fused 5 sepals are there. Now petals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 petals are also fused and each petals and this androecium are fused together or joined together. Now you can see a superior ovary and 2 carpels are present. So this is the floral diagram of family Solanaceae. So by that we come to the end of this chapter, Morphology of Flowering Plants. It's a very easy chapter. So if any doubts are there, you can ask me in the comment box or also you can text message me. So see you with the next chapter. Bye.